Crossed over, took flight, tell the cameraman zoom in. I put you up on game, it's the podcast, tune in. Tune in, tune in, it's the A-Sleep podcast, better tune in. Crossed over, took flight, tell the cameraman zoom in. I put you up on game, it's the podcast, tune in. Tune in.
Welcome to the A-Sleep podcast. I'm your host, Erica Janine, and of course we're here with the wonderful A-Sleep director, Will Lee. We also have two wonderful special guests with us today. We have improv comedian Antoine Stribling, and we also have a founder of Add Never Divide, Jenna German. Hi guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Forgot
y'all
the
for coming
downtown,
on.
but
My bad.
Well, thank y'all for coming on wrong, you know what I mean?
Okay. Cool. So today we are going to be talking about the T.I. and Tiny sexual abuse scandal. As we all know, rapper and Grammy Award winner T.I. and his wife Tiny were accused of drugging and sexually assaulting multiple women. According to a statement made by Sabrina Peterson, T.I. once held a gun to her head. The Harris family has adamantly denied any wrongdoing, and I want to know what you guys think about all of this.
Oh, let me go first. The way you introduce T.I., you know what I mean? And I've been seeing it a lot lately. Like, we got to put award-winning, you know, his status, his money, and all that. Let's just cut all that out and just say the real. He's a human being like everybody else. And I'm gonna have to go with, it's possible that he did that. And I think by us, like, keep putting him, like, above other people, most of the celebrities starting to act like that. You know, like Bill Cosby, not to bring him up and all that, R. Kelly and all that. But that's just examples of it. You know what I mean? Like, they so high up that they think everybody have a cost on them. Mm-hmm. You know, like they can buy anybody. So that's my position on this. So.
I do agree. I feel like they kind of are seen as gods per
Mm-hmm.
se, so they think that they're exempt from other stuff that us regular humans aren't. Because I feel like if like you knew somebody that was just, I don't know, in your neighborhood that did this, you'd be like, oh no, send him to jail. But then when it's T.I. and Tiny, you're like, wait, I don't know.
And I understand that the lady been caught lying and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but this could be a case of crying wolf this time. You know, she been barking all, you know, making up stories before, but this time she might have some kind of truth to this. You know what I mean? Like, behind every lie is kind of truth behind it. So, you know, like they said, some of the receipts was true. Some of the posts that she put was true. I don't know about the girls that was underage, but they said some of the messages was true. So I'm just going to start off like that.
Twine, you want to get this part?
I don't think it's true at all. I think, did they have sexual intercourse? Yeah, that happened. But did they have to drug somebody, rape somebody? Nah. Women do this all the time. This happens in every day to regular people, to celebrities, everybody. A woman can say right now, hey, he raped me, with no evidence. That dude can go to jail. With no evidence. That's because you said he raped you. That's wrong. But when these women get caught lying, nothing happens to them. Nothing happened. They still walk the streets free, while that man just went to jail for however long he went, whether he got exonerated or not. That's still behind him for the rest of his life. Like, he still he might have did whatever 20 years ago. He still looked at as a rapist, even though he didn't do it. That's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, look, if the question is asked, or if we're asking the question, does celebrities have preferential treatment? Of course they do. They get preferential treatment. Are we saying that, you know, because you're a celebrity, because you're a Grammy Award winner, that we're saying that you're above the capability of doing that? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's the reason why the question, the way it's being formed, I don't agree that it's like that. What I'm saying is he's human. His wife is human. And that, is it a possibility that they could have did it? Slim. But there's still that possibility, right? So I'm going to give you that much. But what I will say is that with T.I. and Tiny both being involved, if this was an isolated incident where you had, let's just say singular, where it was T.I. that was accused of drugging and raping these women, then that's one thing, right? But I find it very hard to believe that a wife and the mother of his children that would sit there and watch him drug and rape multiple women. Like, that to me seems where the story gets a bit too far-fetched, because I don't know too many women that would allow something like that to happen. So now, unless you as being women are saying that another woman could also partake into drugging and raping other women, now that's a whole nother story, right? Because now that's a whole nother topic. But I would like to believe that that is not the case here. And, you know, as I was doing some research into this and seeing, you know, some of the stuff that Miss Sabrina was talking about, what's her name? Sabrina Peterson. Yes. So, yeah, Sabrina Peterson. Some of the things she was saying about how T.I. was holding a gun to his head, or her head and everything else. Well, that incident, alleged incident, happened 3 years ago. Okay? And she said since then they had been friends and she's friends of the family and so on and so forth. I don't know how many people would allow someone to hold a gun to their head and still remain friends with that given organization.
So what you're saying is she don't have no credibility.
Her credibility is definitely questionable, to say the least. And the motivation for this, as we say with celebrities all the time, is that I'll give you another case in point. Right this Sunday, a player is going to be playing in the Super Bowl by the name of Antonio Brown. Yeah. This time last year, he had received 3 different sexual assault allegations and rapes, right? We had heard nothing about the outcomes of that, right? All you heard was he received a suspension for, you know, conduct detrimental to the team, and you heard about his rape cases, his alleged rape cases. So what ended up happening with that? Nothing ended up happening with that, because the league knew, as well as many other folks, that these allegations put a damper on what they're trying to do as far as their sponsors and everything else. They don't need it to be true. All they need to know is it's being said. And if it's being said, that can hurt their bottom line. This is about money. Like, let's not try to act brand new. This is about money. And so if we have a situation where you got player, actors, you know, all these different entertainers that are being charged just by an allegation being put out there, and you notice how a lot of these get settled outside of court, where they just said, we're going to give you a lump sum of money.
Yeah, but that don't mean that
away.
It was false, though.
Yeah.
So settle outside.
So
no, what that means is, and when you go to court, it can go either way.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to know that.
I'd rather just give you the money than potentially put it in somebody else's hand and it go the other way, and I ain't do it. I'd rather just give you the money.
Well, it also may cost you more money to fight this thing.
Yeah,
because
and that person might run out of money, especially if you going up against a celebrity that got money like that. They can keep pushing that further and further out, and that person can run out of money.
Well, see, most attorneys in cases like this work pro bono, meaning that if we're taking your case and we're going to keep your case, and if we can win, then we charge you. But if we can't, then you don't have to pay anything, because what it does is it raises their profile, okay, for that given lawyer. But what I'm saying is with most celebrities, and what they look at it is this: we need this to go away because this is hurting our sponsorship dollars. This is hurting the people that, you know, I'm represented by Nike, and now Nike's talking about got me on a suspension right now where I'm not receiving my Nike paycheck. So now, how much is she asking for? She's asking for $1.5 million. Well, how much is that going to cost me in comparison to if I just pay her this $1.5 million, she signs this non-disclosure agreement, we call it a debt. I get back on track to playing my professional sport where I'm making $15 million per year plus my $10 million.
She's going to get that 1.5.
Right? So essentially, he's like this. I'm going to chalk it up. Kobe Bryant's a perfect example. Kobe Bryant's a perfect example. Now, do you really think Kobe Bryant needs to rape some woman in Colorado in his hotel room? Do you truly, as women, do you truly believe that? Do you feel that Kobe Bryant needs
a worker
that he needs to force? Because remember when we talk about rape, we're talking about rape is when you take someone's their power away from them and you force yourself upon them. That's what the definition of rape. Some of this other stuff as far as, you know, age and everything else, and we'll talk about that, you know, as we go on. But do you really believe that somebody like a Kobe would have to rape an individual?
I mean, who is somebody like a Kobe? I think anybody could do it. I think anybody that can do it. I don't put nothing past nobody.
So you don't put nothing past
nobody? I don't put past, just like a father rape with their daughter. Like, I don't put past nothing. Okay. But I think that we getting so far gone because now it's like the victims, because this person could be a victim, that everybody or will prove that you got raped. Open your pussy up or something. Like, what do you want her to do? Like, you know what I'm saying?
In
like,
actuality,
on both sides.
So if because when we say allegations, that means that there needs to be evidence of, what you're claiming.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to you have to open your pussy, then do that.
Okay.
If it comes down to you have to swab it and get semen and whatever it may be, or whatever you saying that's claiming, because then there's also called and when we're talking about rape, now that's where we're at, or we're talking about sexual abuse.
We talking about rape.
Okay, so all right. So if we're talking about rape, then I believe, now just to correct me if I'm wrong, but if I believe if someone's raped another individual, that person should not sit there and wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years. No, I'm not even gonna go. I'm not gonna say 5. I'm not gonna say there's a time frame. But what I'm saying is that if you are under that type of duress, where this incident happened, you should be immediately telling the authorities.
People close off though.
Well, no, I know that. And remember, that's that topic that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, this is what you would do. But that's not
no. Because we were talking about this before. That I know there's a statute of limitation. There's things that go through that people go through. All right, they do. They go through these different things. What I'm saying, my suggestion is that get it out there quickly. Get it out there so it doesn't have the time for so many outside entities to cast doubt in there, or to victim shame, or to sit there and put things that ain't even true into.
But the other thing is that, like, when it comes to rape and sexual abuse, more so sexual abuse, but I'm going to include rape in it, some people don't even realize that it happened. So somebody can be with their boyfriend and be raped. So they'll be like, oh, but no, it was my boyfriend. Like, I wasn't aware.
But you said you not put a time frame on it.
Well, no,
I'm putting a time frame on it.
What I'm saying,
there needs to be a time frame.
What I'm saying,
there needs to be a time frame.
All right, so
if you got raped today, and then you came out 10 years from now and say you got raped, nobody want to hear it because it should have came out. It should have took you 10 years to say.
There's going to be a higher probability of you being able to.
You should have said this 10 years.
That's all I'm saying.
You can't tell a victim when they feel comfortable.
No, I'm not saying when to tell a victim. What I'm suggesting is that you lose a lot of credibility by waiting as long, because what typically happens is that when these people come out, when they decide to come out, it is always seen at a specific time. I'm gonna take for example, the 07 Patriot championship game against the New York Giants. A young lady came out against Randy Moss and said that he had sexually harassed her and sexually abused her. Literally the week before the Super Bowl. Now, throughout the whole year, this was something that happened 4 years earlier. Now, don't you think that is a bit odd that you come out with these allegations the week of the Super Bowl, where there's a high probability that where his camp and his team is not going to want to have those type of allegations out there, and there's a likelihood. Remember, there's strategists to this. Your lawyer is your strategist and how to approach certain things. There's certain lawyers who sit on certain cases and tell you when and when you should not put out information. Now, see, there's something wrong with that. Okay? Because if you're a true victim should get justice immediately. It shouldn't be delayed. You know what I mean? And that's just me. Like, if you rape somebody,
that's you. That's
no.
your opinion.
But what I'm saying is, if you are getting raped, and I feel very strongly about that because I've had my mother get raped, I've had my exes get raped, and so I feel very strongly that if you get raped, you should be called on the carpet right then and there. The person who did it should have been called on the carpet right then and there. So my thing is that you allow yourself to let so many other things come in there, and then you can even question the scenario, like you said about your boyfriend. Your boyfriend came out, and you said that you didn't know that you got raped. Well, what was the circumstances? Was the circumstances of, because if I'm a defense lawyer, I'm going to hear this. What was the circumstances? Were you both drinking? What were you doing? Were you under the influence of drugs? So how can your recollection be about as accurate as you said 5 years now from when it actually first happened, right? You see what I'm saying? Because those questions will be asked. I'm telling you, a lawyer worth their salt.
Yeah, people did studies on this, and there's no limitation, and there never will be a limitation on rape or murder, because you can't tell a victim how to feel and when to feel. You know what I'm saying? I'm just put out that I work at a mental health hospital, and we got people that come out, they got raped when they was a little kid, and now they feel strong enough after the person died to speak it. You know, you can't tell them when should they feel comfortable. It's just not
And-
gonna
and-
be.
Adding
it's
to
just
that,
not-
I do want to say that you were saying, I don't know, you said about the game where the girl talked about it right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is strategy. I do agree
Yeah,
with
there's
that.
strategy.
But at the same time, you can bury somebody so much where you don't think about them, but now he's in your face because he's going to be in the Super Bowl and
That's
the game's
correct.
coming up. So his name is everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, in that fact, I'm like, well, shit, I'm literally seeing him everywhere.
Mhm.
And now this is coming up, and I'm like, damn, I'm processing it all now because before it was gone. I was living my normal life. Like, yeah, he's on the team, whatever, he's playing games and stuff, but it's like all the teams are out, you know what I'm saying? So we're not listening about that.
I wouldn't disagree with you
Mhm.
if it wasn't for the fact of if that was just some ordinary NFL player. But when we're talking about one of the greatest wide
wide
receivers
receivers ever.
that you see on commercials, that you see,
But there you-
but you see him all the
I
time.
understand,
Well,
but at the same
that's-
time, you're
that's that.
idolizing him
But-
again.
But
He's
you're,
just a
but
person.
you're having
them too
you're
high.
having the ability to see that person who's going to be in your face that whole time. You see what I mean? Like, you see that guy on these commercials. You see that guy on these shoes. You
All
see that
season.
guy. You see him all year. For years, you've seen him in your face. It's not like these victims don't see these people. And what I'm saying is, I don't want to make sure I'm not getting it misconstrued. I'm saying you should get your right to sit there and prosecute those people. But what I'm saying is, you are hurting your case the longer you wait. That is a proven fact.
I'm sure they know that.
I worked at Star Commonwealth. I worked in a youth facility. I dealt with these young men who have been raped. See,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't want to talk about that neither, because there's a lot of young men who are getting raped.
Yeah.
One of the things that got brought up, and nobody ever talks about Teresa Kelly. You know who Teresa Kelly is?
No.
Teresa Kelly is R. Kelly's older sister.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so R. Kelly's older sister
Yeah.
was sexually molesting and raping R. Kelly when he was 6 years old, forcing him, for those of you who don't know, was forcing him
In
to
his
eat
throat.
her pussy
Yeah, in the throat.
when he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that. That is one of those
No, we talk about
melanomas, not me, but that was one of those melanomas that people are just like, we'll look at R. Kelly and he's dating these 14, 15-year-old girls and everything else. Well, let's see, where did he get that from? Because nobody talks about that. And it's easily accessible. Like, you can literally go on Joe Google right now and type in Teresa Kelly. His older brother, Casey, also said, or Carrie, I'm sorry, also said that, yes, that happened. And she was doing that repeatedly throughout his adolescent year. At 6 years old, can you imagine?
And
That this
she
is what you're being
denied it.
exposed to?
She denied it.
Right?
So you believe
So-
them now. You believe them now, but
so-
when she's denying, you don't believe.
So what I'm saying
kinda
is,
confused
so
now.
no, what I'm saying is that if you have that information out there, right? If you have that information out there, for women, use that same fervor that you use as saying, well, we cried, we say this is what happened to us, believe us. Then also use that same energy when it's a man, because where you can be so summarily dismissive, it's a man, where you hear a man get raped. Men get raped all the time in jail. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares because you're in jail, you committed a crime. You know how that is. Like, even when I'm saying that right now, people who are going to watch this are going to say, well, yeah, they committed a crime. That's what happens.
And that's how
You know,
women
right?
feel that
So you get
you're
this.
saying now about
So-
us. Basically,
No,
you
that's not what I'm saying.
Because he's a celebrity,
No,
and I
no,
decided.
no,
Hold
no,
on,
no,
let
no.
me finish my point. Oh, he's a celebrity, and I decided to go over there at 3:00 in the morning. Oh well, hey, you might be lying.
But see, I didn't
Same
use
thing
that.
with
I
the
didn't use
guys
that
in
scenario.
jail.
I didn't use that
But
scenario.
what did you go over there at 3 o'clock in the morning for?
I can go over there and chill. I don't have to get
Ain't
my
nobody
mouth
chilling at 3
over
o'clock.
there at 3:00
Wait,
in the
See,
morning.
that's
Ain't nobody chilling at
that is
3
a
o'clock.
bad stigma that you put
That's
on
what-
stuff at 3
All
o'clock.
Alright, ain't nobody chilling
All
at
right.
3 o'clock. You had the whole 20-something other hours to chill.
No.
Why you
If
pick 3
I
o'clock?
choose
Time is a
to
social
chill
construct
at that
for
time,
sure.
I can't.
I'm
All
just
right.
saying.
Well, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
So, because that is a scenario that happens all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we have a situation where we have a young lady who, likes an individual, and she sits there and says, "Hey, I'm gonna come over here. I want to chill with this guy. I think he's, somebody that I want to get to know and everything else." Now, she comes over at a certain time of night. Like, just say, I'm old school, so I was always taught that nothing is open after midnight besides the liquor store and legs.
Okay.
All right. So with that being said, if you are going over to a man's house that I'm guessing you have an established relationship with because you're comfortable enough of going over his house, if you go over to his house and you have a issue with him being aggressive or you think there may be a possibility, there's a way to avoid that. That means it's called stay home. Because, and it's not to say that it's given the justification for the men to do anything. What I'm saying is that you can prevent a lot of these issues by using good sound judgment. Good sound judgment says, if I've been drinking and I've been smoking, I probably shouldn't go to this party. You know, I'm on college campuses because this happens a lot, because I've seen it. I'm in a fraternity. I've seen a lot of times where young ladies do things that they are quite ashamed of the following days and weeks and months and years after the fact. On days that they were inebriated, they running around the dorm room or the dorm houses butt naked, and they sleeping with this guy and that guy and everything else. I'm sorry, ladies, but that's not rape. Because you use,
just blaming the
no.
woman.
What I'm saying is
that's the whole.
Well, see, y'all call it a spade. I'm just saying that that's not rape. That's not rape because you use poor judgment.
Well, you shouldn't have came over there at 11 o'clock. So if he got aggressive with you, that you should have
That's
said
what you just said. And that's also like saying that a girl got raped because of what she wore.
Yeah,
That's
the same
that's
thing.
not what it's saying though, because we have these discussions.
Yeah.
No, what we're saying is what I'm saying. I'm
What
not
he's saying the situation could be avoided.
What I'm
It
saying
can be
is
avoided, but it doesn't
But
mean
you
that because they
have
go to your house
self-control,
at 3
yeah.
that you're gonna just be like, oh, we're having sex. Like,
No, we didn't say that. We
That's
said
not
what we said was,
I'm glad that this is on
if
record
you
too, by the way.
if you're
So
coming if
y'all-
if
y'all
you're
heard
coming
what I said.
at a certain hour, nobody says y'all have to do anything, but that's the
But
message
don't
that it
get
sends.
mad at you if you aggressive with
No, I didn't say nobody had to be aggressive. That's wrong.
That's
wrong.
I could have swore I said that on
That's
camera.
wrong.
Y'all got me on wax, right?
Nobody
I
said-
that on camera.
nobody said
But
they had
some
to be
people
aggressive.
get to what hearing.
I
whatever they
said
wanna
if you
hear.
come
know what I
to
mean?
somebody's house at 3 o'clock in the morning, it sends a certain message. That's what I said.
But if I didn't say it, that you don't have the rights to touch me.
That's
I
right.
came to.
I didn't say I was going to touch you.
Okay.
He
Again,
didn't
I
say that,
said,
but he was saying
I
that
said
if
it
you go to
sends a
somebody's
certain
house,
message if you go to somebody's house at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, it sends a certain message if you come up with your rims, music blasting, throwing money. So
No, I don't.
if I
I
ask
don't
for
think that's in the
money,
message. I don't
if
think
I
that's in
ask
the
for
message.
money,
I like my music.
it's
like
just
that.
okay.
And wait.
That's the same thing that we're saying.
And I agree with what you just said.
Okay.
If somebody comes up to you and you're a dancer at one of these strip clubs and you see a guy coming in here, he throwing money and everything else, you have every right to assume that he is somebody to go after for his money because he just tossing it away, right? That's a safe assumption,
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty much
so
what you gotta
if
stand
what
up
what
to.
Antoine is saying is that if a young lady who you have an established relationship with, right? Because we're not talking about just random.
She's comfortable enough to come by herself.
She's comfortable enough to come to your house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now we're just using this scenario,
Okay.
right? She comes over to your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And there's under the presumption of hey, especially if you communicate it. Hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Hey, you coming through tonight? I sent you some nudes. You just sent me some nudes.
Okay.
Hey, what's
Yeah.
poppin'?
Okay.
Are you coming over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my way over. Look, if you as a woman have no idea of, you know what? I'm having second thoughts about this. I don't think this is the right thing.
Okay, but
So
that's
I
not what
can't
you said.
change my
That's
mind.
not what you said in the first.
What I'm saying
That's not what you
is,
said in the first
what I'm saying is that people, and I'm gonna just go with women in general. Women are now believing that it is okay to sit there and throw out frivolous accusations. And I'm saying the frivolous one, not the ones that are actually happening and people are doing it. Because like I said, those men should be thrown under the jail. That's on the record. On the record, okay? Those men should be thrown under the jail. What I'm saying is that when you are not being responsible and you're taking certain situations where you didn't do something, where you were a little drunk and somebody took advantage
Why
of
you
you.
put it all on the woman?
What I'm saying, because this is the kind of topics that we have, because we see this majority of the time. It's majority of the time is a woman accusing a man. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, we're not gonna say
Is that
you
a fair-
can't. We
wait.
can't say you can't. Our house
Is that a fair
rape
assessment?
us.
Because we couldn't even say that. We couldn't say
Report
like,
it. Yeah,
all right,
sure.
so
That's
report it
being
because
reported.
like let me show you how the double standard is. Cardi B literally came out a year and a half ago, said that she used to drug men and take their money. You know what y'all did to that? That's what you did. So when we're saying when it goes the men the
I
opposite
didn't.
way,
I
well, no,
didn't,
but
but I understand
but
what
you
you
get what I'm
mean.
saying. So we're just going to go on there because remember I always say there's no such thing as all in absolutes. I always say that on this show. Erica knows this. I don't never say all in absolutes because I know there's always exceptions to the rule. So I'm just going to go by the majority base. Majority of base of women accusing men. And as a father of 5 boys who are now in their 20s, who are now going to be going to college parties, who are now going to be experimenting and doing different things, and they're going to be having threesomes and all this other kind of stuff, right? I don't want, no, but that's just,
It is true.
that's true. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
here on the Ace
aggressive.
League, we talk for real.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that we're not going to continue, I couldn't have I'm just so frustrated that at any given time, as hardworking as my boys are, both of them are managers and they take care of their business. I'm very proud of my sons. But at any given time, they could be having a drink, cocktail, and everything because they're of drinking age now. Be having a drink, cocktails, and all this type of deal. Go to a little party. Go to a little Alpha Xi Beta party or whatever, and they partying up real good. They go into a little side room because the girl pulled her in there like, hey, what's going on? She might be inebriated. They get down. Somebody puts it on camera. You know, oh, wow, that's crazy. It gets out. Somehow it gets on social media. She's so embarrassed because her parents used to sit there and be the attorney general and everything else. And now she's claiming rape. And now the assumption that my kids was innocent goes out the window because we live in a society, especially as black males, we live in a society that you are guilty until proven innocent. Now we have an uphill battle, and even if I do prove their innocence, I still have to watch my kids live with the stigma that follows them. And that's the problem that I have with these accusations. Now look, I'm a firm believer, and I said this before on the show. If you make an accusation that is proven false, you should do the time of that accusation. You should do the jail time of that accusation. Now, I would see if you knew that, if I come in and I say this, I say that this man raped me, and I know really is that I don't want him to tell my baby daddy, or I don't want him to find out that I'm pregnant by another man, or this, that, and the third, so on and so forth. I gotta do 15? Nah, I'm gonna keep this one to myself. If you knew that, there'd be a lot less accusations made. There'd be a lot less.
Okay, but men knew that. Men know the time they can get to, and they still rape women. So I doubt that. But my point was gonna be that I don't care if I send you nude pictures. I don't care what I did before I got there. If I get there and we're gonna talk about the drug part. If I get there and we start doing drugs and I pass out, you don't got the okay. I don't care if I text you. Yeah, I'm gonna bust it open. Oh, look at my. I don't care.
You
if
have
I'm
to
passed
be-
out, don't touch me.
You have to be responsible when doing drugs and alcohol, anyways. Meaning you shouldn't be doing drugs and alcohol if you feel that you have the potential of falling out at somebody else's house. Do it at your house.
But that don't
That's
give you
called
the
being
right to
responsible.
still touch me.
I didn't say I was gonna touch you. I said you should be responsible.
But this was some of the
You
accusations
should be
was that
responsible.
some of the women that was passed out and they still.
That's called them. That's them being irresponsible. Should somebody have done anything to them? No, but that's still irresponsible.
So to me, that's rape.
It is rape, but
'Cause
you were irresponsible as well.
You didn't give me the chance if we was midway to say, oh, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't care if we like you about to come and I don't care if I say stop, you need to stop immediately. That's
Let me
rape.
ask you this. Because what we're saying is that someone gets inebriated and they are now under the influence of some illicit drug or alcohol, so on and so forth. I would agree with you wholeheartedly if they didn't have the option to choose when that cocaine got laid out there on that
I just
table,
said, no, they
or
do-
if
they
that
doing the
injection,
drug.
or here's that
Yeah.
ecstasy,
Get
here's
bleeding.
this, and all these different things. If T.I. and Tiny didn't force their head onto those drugs,
I ain't saying they. No, I'm saying they
Yeah.
want to do the drugs, but then they
So-
passed out.
So to circle back, because we've been talking about this for a while, do you agree that it was a false accusation, or do you?
I don't know if it was false. I can't say if it was true or false. Do I believe that it's true? No, but I don't know if it's true or false.
Okay, and what about you?
Again, like he said, I don't know if it's true or false, but it could be true.
Okay. And
I believe that the allegation of rape and sexual misconduct is false. I believe that accusation is false. Do I believe that there were some extenuating circumstances? Do I believe that T.I. possibly pulled a gun on her? There's a high probability I believe he did that. You know what I mean? Like there's a high
Yeah.
probability, just given the history of that man, just giving that being in those circumstances with drugs and alcohols involved and everything else. Like, but none of us was there, so we don't have the context of why he did it. But I've had guns pulled on me at the dice game. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
by friends.
Yeah.
So there's a high probability that he possibly did that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just one of those things where, you know, we'll never know until more
that
information.
he might don't have self-control then.
But what I agree is that he sit there as far as guns and pointing them at people and things of that nature. I believe that there's a possibility that he did that. But what we're saying is, as far as drugs and alcohol concerned and date raping, basically what it's saying, him and his wife. Now, if we would have said this was just T.I. solo, I think my whole thought process would have been completely different. But when we say that it's T.I. and Tiny are being accused of the same thing as a couple, that's something that hits me different. And
why does that hit you different if we talk about, honestly, I forgot his name, so excuse me if I don't say this right, but the Epstein guy. I mean, it was him and his girl.
Okay, so, but that system of power has been prevalent, and we've seen it every single day of our life. If you're black in America, you're brown in America, you see that power. You know what that power is, right? We'll get a lot of people in my white brothers and sisters that say, hey, you know, I think things are getting better, right? But guess what? When you say that to, I want white America to understand that. When you say that things are getting better to me, do you realize that I've had over 400 years of my family's generation that heard that same speech? They heard that same speech. When my mother was growing up in the 50s, she heard that speech. It's getting better than what your grandmother had it. You know, when my grandmother was growing up in the early 20s, you know what she heard? It's getting better than what your grandmother had. When my great-grandmother was out there just getting fresh out of slavery, right? Because remember, that's only 1863. I know my great-grandmother. Ionia Ford. I met her. I was killing, you know, I kicked it with her every day after school. Her mother was in slavery. So you understand what I'm saying? So what we're saying is that this system of power, we keep seeing it. So when you have a situation where, I'm going to give you a perfect example. R. Kelly, we have crucified him in black America for sitting there dating 15, 16-year-old girls, right? Keeping them, doing everything else. Yet we hailed and lauded the Playboy Hugh Hefner for doing the exact same thing for 60 years. And we applauded because the system of power and a lot of powerful individuals who used to go through his Playboy mansion on discreet different things, having sex with those underage 15, 16-year-old girls who were on drugs, who were sniffing coke line. And here's the malicious part about power. Not only will they do these things, but then they'll show you that they were doing it and basically say you do something about it. They'll make a movie about it and glorify it and tell you what they were doing. Do you realize that?
So you want us to give
give
him a pass because he's black?
I'm not saying that give him a pass. What I'm saying is that understand that this system of what we say with these drugging young ladies and everything else, we have to get to the core of what's really going on. Because what the core is bad decisions being made on multiple parties. Now, there's a difference between that and rape. See, you making a bad decision and rape are completely two different things. You see what I'm saying? And that's all I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Maybe I didn't articulate that well at the beginning, but hopefully everybody can understand where I'm coming from now. I know we got to get ready to the next time.
We can talk about that all day, but on January 29th, T.I. released an 8-minute Instagram video stating, whatever we have done in our bedroom is done with consenting adults, who are into what we are into. So basically he was saying that him and his wife have a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And why do you believe in 2021 that people are still so secretive about their sexual preferences?
When you say sexual preferences, you mean by threesomes or you mean like gay? Or
no, I mean by like threesomes or like if they're into bondage and things like that.
It ain't nobody else's business. That's just what it comes
He
down
actually said that a part of that 8-minute video, go back and watch it on Instagram. He said that he was like, what I'm not going to do, you know how T.I. talk, what I'm not going to do is allow you into my bedroom.
Yeah.
But what and then he contradicted himself literally right after they're saying, you know, what me and my wife are into and who we're into in our bedroom was with consenting adults, which it already says, yes, we have other people in our bedroom with us, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're saying here is this. I don't know if many of you know what the lifestyle is. Everybody here know what the lifestyle is. Some people call it swinging, so on and so forth. But inside of the lifestyle, there is having an understanding with whoever you're with that says, look, this is what I want, this is what I need, and I prefer, you know what I mean, this is the things that I need, you know what I mean, just that's what I need for myself, right? And can you work within this, and can we work together on getting our pleasures and things of that met? Now, what's happening in the lifestyle or outside of the lifestyle is that a lot of people who, what we like to call in the vanilla world, okay, y'all are in the lifestyle too. Y'all just don't know it. So what happens is that this, how many relationships, what is the number one cause of relationship breakups? Cheating, right? Followed by financials. Okay, so the number one thing that breaks up most relationships, marriages, so on and so forth, is cheating. Okay, so that person is not getting sexually satisfied or not being able to express themselves sexually in the things that they want to do with that given partner, and they may have one other partners. I know women who want to have sex with multiple men. I know, guys who they want to have the variety and so on and so forth. What I'm saying is that the vast majority, and being a person who have lived in a lifestyle, I lived with two of the mothers of my children. Like, that was an everyday ordeal, okay? So if I've lived that lifestyle, and I know the thought process behind it, and I know that the majority of people that we invited into our room, do you know what the majority of people we invited into our bedroom was? Married. Married women cheat more than you would ever believe, because they're not getting their needs met in the way from their men, and they want to dabble out and explore their bodies, explore different things, but they can't communicate that with men because we created this stigma, especially in the vanilla world, is that I feel so bad for a lot of these women because they can't tell their man and say, hey, I want you to try to do this. I've been thinking about this for a long time. This is my fantasy. I want to do this. And they can't communicate that with them because in this world, we have a man that this is what it is. This is how we're supposed to be. And so what these women are doing is they're going outside of their marriage. Believe me, I know firsthand. I know married lesbians that have been in my bedroom. You understand what I'm saying? So they just married heterosexual women. I know married lesbians that says, no, step out. And so with that being said, there's a stigma that's being created, and people need to start having some real conversations because, like I always say this, I be joking around on social media and I say this, but some of y'all are in the lifestyle and y'all just don't know it. You see what I mean? Because your significant other is doing their own thing. You get what I mean? And if you don't have these conversations, why is it so hard for you to sit there and say, Erica, what do you like?
Hold on, I got a question. Will. I wanted to ask you like 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
You said you used to do this, or you
yes,
still
I used to do it. Used to. Yeah. No question.
Was that the question?
Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah.
I want to know if he was currently still.
Yeah. I mean, like, what's that? If I need to be able to communicate that at any time, my wife knew who I was from the jump because I communicated that with her from day one. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like, it's not like, oh my God, this is what you want. No, because I communicate what I need, what I want, and this is who I am. Because see, the worst thing you could do to a woman, I was talking about this by my grandmother and my mother, that the worst thing you could do to a woman is steal away her choice. See, I'll never do that. I won't steal away your choice. You have the choice from day one to say, yo, you know what? I can get with this, or no, this ain't for me.
I got another question.
Yes, sir.
Why did you give up the lifestyle?
Well, I mean, it's just what you call it. It's as you grow, there's certain things you start wanting differently. Like, who's to say that 10 years from now, when I'm in my 50s, maybe I want to start back again? You see what I mean? Like, you never know. It's just your different phases. Like the same things, Twan, let me ask you this. When you was 21 years old, do you like the same things you like now? Or have you grown into like certain things a little bit more than you used to? Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you ask the average young man, 18 years old, you say, hey, do you like eating pussy? They're going to be like, hell no, I'm straight. Well, you get 30. Oh, I love it. Because I love to see the reaction out of their face and everything. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, that's what happens. But unfortunately, there's not enough people having these grown folk conversations. You know what I mean? You got to have these grown folk conversations because I'm telling you what I know. Married women who said I want to spend my rest of the life with you. I'm not saying that they said, oh, I want to be with Will now. No, what they're saying is, I still love my husband, but I need something different. And they can't communicate that with their husband. Or, you know what I mean? Or, they're, these men who are sneaking out behind their woman's back and their wife's back, they're not sitting in there telling them, saying, hey, babe, I need this. This is what I need, right? I need this because it makes me feel a certain way, right? I need that midday loving, you know what I'm saying? Because, it makes me feel like I play basketball better that night, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it may be. But these conversations need to be had, but they're not being had. So yeah, I'll give y'all the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you something.
Yes.
All right. Say that you got married at 23 and you didn't know that you like stuff like that, and now you like 40, and now you want to go to your husband or your wife and say, okay, I want to do this. Like,
You gotta have
your
that commitment.
husband or your wife going, well, I ain't signing up for that. No,
Well,
I ain't doing that.
Here's
Better
the
for
thing.
worse.
Here, no.
No, but that's
Better
that.
for worse.
No, that's, yeah, that's
Better for worse.
no.
No, you know the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm glad you brought that point up. That point is very valid because the people are going to change. I don't know how old you are, but I'm gonna take it that you're in the 30s, right? All right,
35.
so 35. All right, you obviously are not the same person you was at 15, not the same person you was at 25, right? Now you're 35, and your whole everything has changed. And so now some of the things that you once liked, you don't like no more. So now you like new things. You have to be able to have that conversation because that's why marriages are failing right now. It's because people are not having those conversations. We all agree that the number one cause of divorce is infidelity. That's a fact. That's not Will Lee stat. That is a fact. Fact checker, you can check that all you think. You know what I mean? Like, that is a fact. Infidelity is the number one cause of divorce, followed by financial, right? Then they get into abuse, right? Because if you notice, those three things are synonymous with each other, right? Somebody cheating, money ain't right, then the relationship get abusive. That's pretty synonymous. You get what I'm saying? Because I ain't never seen too many happily married, great loving, affectionate people towards each other become abusive towards each other, no matter what their financials is. You see what I'm saying? So they synonymous. So with that being said, right now, what you want and what you desire with your boyfriend, you got a boyfriend? What you want with your boyfriend at 35, yes, that's great. But what you're going to want at 45 may be completely different. And so if you can't communicate that with them, because remember, people grow at different rates, and you need to find a partner who is able to grow with you at the same pace, because there's a biblical principle that goes along with that, you know what I'm saying, that says people who are unequally yoked can't be together. And if you are unequally yoked, it ain't gonna work anyway. You see what I mean? You just have to have these type of conversations. You gotta have, man, it's difficult. Let me ask you, which one's more difficult? Telling somebody preemptive that says, hey, look, this is what I need. I would love to be able to do it with you. Hey, maybe I want to have a threesome. I want to have a threesome. This is what I want to do, right? Having that conversation may be difficult, but is it more difficult than this? Hey, I seen you ain't picked up your phone and everything else. I tracked it on Google Maps and everything else. I seen you was over at some dude's house and everything else. And then, did you sleep with him? Which one is more difficult? Which conversation is really most difficult? Because I'm gonna tell you how that second scenario ends. That second scenario ends depends on how your tone ends. You see what I'm saying? Like that second scenario changes completely. Like if you hit him, I got it. Oh, okay. Now we see 54th District Court. You know what I'm saying, for some abuse. You know what I'm saying? Because
let me tell you how the first one would go. If you come to me and we've been together for 10 years and you say, look, I want to have a threesome. The first thing, me being a woman, I'm like, what, I ain't good enough? Like, who you already know you've been thinking about this? It's going to automatically
you're going to have those questions. But that's great.
But it's going to be
the
whole
But what about if he tell you, what about if he
answers
answers when you ask him that, he say, yeah, what?
Yeah, what?
You
that
said,
I ain't good enough?
I ain't know. I'm saying the second question you said, you already had, you was looking at somebody else. What about if he say, yeah? Then what's your comeback?
Then I'd cry probably.
But that's what I'm saying though. Those conversations, as tough as that scenario is, right?
That might end the relationship though.
That may end the relationship, but you can end it and you can walk away whole still, or get yourself back to being whole. Whereas if you had that conversation with him after 10 years of being together, and then you start going through his phone and you start seeing all these different text messages from a bunch of different women and everything else, right? And then he sits there and comes out to you and says, yes, I've had another relationship with another woman, and this is what has been going on for the last 2.5 years. Because a lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of grown folks don't realize this, and I feel like I have to tell the people that the biggest part about cheating that really bothers people is not the actual act. Y'all do realize that, right? It is the lie that is being told to maintain, the lie. You know what I mean? The lies upon the lies. And that's why I said, the fact that you have to lie about one time, right? To cover up for this lie, to cover up for that lie. And people are not necessarily upset because I'm gonna tell you like this. At
Yeah,
our
I'm
age,
upset.
you ain't meeting nobody who's a virgin. So, like, I hate to be this candid, but let me just tell you, whoever you meet from this point on, whether it's boy or girl, has had sex with somebody else. That means somebody else's private part has been in their mouth. They, you know what I'm saying? They done X, Y, and Z. So no, we gotta give it to you
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
Right?
That's crazy.
So when you, so we gotta have this conversation
Yeah,
because
have it.
when you kiss somebody else, there's a high probability that somebody else's dick has been in that woman's mouth. And if you kiss that man, there's
crazy.
a high
No,
probability.
no.
There's a high probability that somebody else's pussy has been in that person's mouth. That's just facts.
That's crazy,
I gotta
though,
shoot-
man.
I gotta shoot straight, but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't.
You
think-
should have said that.
But a lot of people don't think like that though,
They should have left that out though.
right?
That's crazy.
Look, I understand.
I ain't never
that.
thought about that. That's crazy.
No, but see, that's the fact of the matter. So what we're saying is that it's not the actual physical thing that you've done. It's the lie that's being told
My mind is
over
blown.
and over again to allow that to happen. You
That's
see what I'm
crazy.
saying? Because if he came to you after 10 years and he'd been lying to you for the last 2, I can guarantee you'll be a lot madder than that first scenario
Yeah,
that
I'd
you
be
gave.
a lot madder, but
A
I'm
lot
still gonna be
madder.
like, oh, was she better than me? It's
But
still gonna be
ain't-
that
wait, but see,
sexual.
you're not just talking about breaking up. You're not just talking about breaking up. Now you're talking about breaking him. You see what I'm saying? If he's been lying to you for 2 years, I don't give a damn who you are. You could be the nicest person in the world. Somebody been lying to you for 2 consecutive years, right? And not been able to tell you their truth. You're going to want to hurt somebody. I don't care how nice and sweet you are. You see what I'm saying? That's just facts. And that's what I want people to understand, man. You got to really think about this stuff next level. That's what the lifestyle, just to make sure that people understand it. Lifestyle is having the ability to tell people what your truth is.
Yeah.
That's what the lifestyle is.
Yeah, man. We
You
should
see
have
what
left
I
that other part out, man. I ain't never thought about that before.
mean? Yeah, I mean, that's just factual.
That's rough.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming on to the Ace League podcast, and I think you guys all had really good points. And I wanted you to say your Instagrams or any events that you guys have coming up, and you could say it directly to that camera for yourself.
All right, so it's your girl Jenna Downtown German. You can follow me on Facebook. That's Jenna German. Also Jenna K. Also on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. That's Jenna German. You can also check out my YouTube page. That's Add Never Divide. Shakedown Showcase 407 in Park. Also Cajun Sauce. You can check out the website. That's www.Cajun Sauce. We got merch on there. All that. You can check me out on that.
I say they can't miss you now. with
Yeah,
all that
that's
stuff.
Me, I'm everywhere.
Facebook, my real name, Antoine Strickland. Instagram, realist_N_it. I got merchandise too. Foreign Lifestyle. www.foreignls.com. Y'all come check us out.
And I know you're an
Awesome.
improv comedian.
Yeah.
Do you have any events coming up?
I don't know. I gotta check it. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm on stage all the time. But yeah, but y'all do come see me. Yeah, because I'm funny.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the segment of Start, Bench, Cut. We're gonna name 3 basketball players. Well, they're gonna do 3 guys and 3 girls, and you're gonna tell me who you're gonna start, who you're gonna bench, and who you're gonna cut. Okay, so for the guys, we have AJ Davis, he's from UCF. We have Brandon Moss from LSU Alexandria, and we have Torlin Fitzpatrick from USF. Sorry. So who are you gonna start?
I'm going first.
Yes. Come on, man. The pressure's on. The people gonna watch, and they're getting tagged on this.
I kind of want to go with Brandon first.
So you're going Brandon Moss starting.
Hold on, now. That ain't. It's
Oh, okay.
He's brainstorming right now.
Hold on now. Brandon just the first one jumped out of it, but I told you I like Torlin.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Brandon though.
All right. So who you benching? He's still on your team. If he's on your bench, he's still on your team. Who you going? Oh, I don't make these easy, man. Come on, man. You've been on stage in front of thousands of people.
No, but it's different. If I upset somebody on stage, I upset them. They already paid me. I'm gonna go with Torlin, man, but that's tough, man.
You're going Torlin Fitzpatrick as your bench, and that means you're. Come on, you gotta say it, man.
I'm cutting AJ, but
You cutting AJ
that's
Davis.
tough, man.
All right.
That's tough, man.
Okay. Well, let me just be upfront. I'm going for my starter. I'm going AJ Davis, UCF. He got intangibles. He's a lefty, 6'9", can shoot the thing. He can play defense. he has winning the intangible. It was tough for him last year in the Ace League, but he almost willed them to the playoff.
You got AJ over.
Yeah, I got
over
AJ.
Brandon?
I got AJ over Brandon. Now, Brandon's on my team now. So now I'm going Brandon as on my bench. Brandon Moss, he's a young man who, if he can put it all together, rather it's in the game with upstairs, there's no reason why he shouldn't be a six-figure player right now. And so, like, this is one of those things, man, where I've done some things behind the scenes. I've got some people that's looking at that guy because I don't, with his skill set.
And that's why I picked Brandon. I picked Brandon on upside.
Look, I mean, I got to go with what I see right now. AJ Davis is no slouch.
No,
Brandon is no slouch. Torlin is no slouch. Ain't none of them no slouch. If your name gets mentioned here on the Ace League podcast, that means you can play. So it's not like you a scrub. You can really play. I just have to make a hard decision. So I'm going Brandon Moss to the bench, and I'm cutting Torlin Fitzpatrick because I watched a lot of his games, and he can go. Like he's solid. Like even right now, he's still averaging like 9 and 6. You know what I'm saying, with his club team right now. It's just that I see that he's now becoming that outside shooter. He wants to shoot the ball a lot, and he's not making it at a high clip. And I'm not saying that he can't. It's just right now, I'm just going by 2021. I like the other two better. Like, I mean, I'm just going by right now. And that may change. You know what I'm saying? Like, he may, have a breakout this summer. But as of right now, I'm going to have to cut him. All right?
So you think, this is a random question, but I'm just excited. Because you said Brandon Moss and you said AJ Davis. You think if they did 1v1, you think AJ would win?
I think that.
No. I do not.
You said 1v1?
Yeah.
I think Brandon will win.
If we say 1v1.
Brandon will win.
If we say 1v1, I'm not gonna cut dry like that. I think Brandon, like
I ain't saying it's cut dry, but Brandon will win.
No, Brandon raw. Don't get me wrong. AJ ain't no slouch though, cuz.
No, I ain't saying it's gonna be. I ain't saying it's gonna be no landslide now, but
no,
I
AJ
like
ain't no
Brandon.
slouch.
I like Brandon.
David has him.
Yes.
Here's what I'll say.
I like
Because
Brandon.
I play with Brandon a lot. He can really keep up though with his skill and athleticism, especially defensively. I'm gonna say like 1v1. Maybe, AJ Davis to a degree, but it's tough. I think even Brandon.
AJ got a little bit more size on him too, believe it or not. Like as far as girth,
Yeah, he do.
Yeah.
he got a little girth.
Brandon got more moves, man. Brandon got
Brandon
got
raw.
more.
Don't, look, I play with him all the time, man. The kid raw. There ain't no question about it. So that, like, we'll see him this year in the Ace. Like he's on the new team, the Rise Up team, and he definitely gonna be banging on a couple people's head. But AJ's a little different too, man. Remember, he's got that NBA thoroughbred too, though. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, he's been bred to do this. Like, his daddy played in the league 15 years. Like,
What that is?
Antonio
Davis?
Yes.
On the Pacers?
Yes.
For real?
Yes. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, he
I
played on Team Unity.
still like Brandon.
Yeah, he
but I
played
ain't know
on
that was
Team
his daddy.
Unity. Yeah, that's his daddy.
So that's where the J come from, the AJ come from.
There you go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go over to the girls' team. We have Bernice Mosby from Florida. We have Courtney Berry from Rollins. And then we have Vernisha Andrews from Rollins as well.
Okay. So this one is pretty simple for me. Bernice Mosby. She's older now. I think she's like 36. But she's still doing it. And she's still doing it at a high clip. And she's a problem. Like, you have to go on YouTube, watch some of her clips. That young lady, I should say young because she's older now, but she's still doing it. She's like my girl Nina Stone. Nina, about 36 now, 37, but still can do it. And y'all get to see that this year at the Ace League Pro Women's Showcase. Like, yo, you gonna see she's different. She's different. I'm gonna go with, on my bench, I'm gonna go with Vernisha Andrews. Like, yo, she nice with it too. And it's not to say that Courtney Berry ain't nice, but she's now making the transition into coaching. Like, she's full-time coaching now and everything else. So when you get into coaching, you're not training like you used to and everything else. I'm pretty sure she still loves the game because obviously she's coaching. But I'm going to have to cut Courtney Berry just because, I don't think she's still as active, as the other two. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
So thank you guys so much for coming onto the Ace League podcast, and be sure to follow all our socials and our YouTube under the link below. Thank you.